They say if you are a little bit stressed, you are making better work. So your best work is made under a little stress.
Yeah.
You can't be too stressed because then you're just rushing it, right?
Yeah.
But if you're feeling a little pressure, that's actually good for the creative work.
You've released 2 books now, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're the writer and you're the artist?
Yes.
Yes, mainly.
Mainly.
How did you start?
We actually had an idea for a comic book, or to work together mainly for many years, actually, maybe 11, 12 years ago.
Yeah, because we have been a couple for, how long is it now?
14 and a half years.
Yeah, 14 years. So way back when we studied in Trondheim, we had the thought to make something together, but we never realized it. So when Egmont had a competition for, they wanted to make new Nordic manga series. So they made a competition. You send in your short version of your comic entrance entry. Yeah. They wanted 10 pages, 10 first 12 pages. 12. Yeah, 12 that were completely done, and we. Where did we end up in that competition? It was
top 25 out of 200 competitors, so that was pretty nice. So we felt that it was there was something there that we could be happy with, and the publishers saw, or Egmont saw something in it that were good. We didn't get further than that, but it was enough for us to get hyped and try to make the story better, just finish off some few touches here and there. Yeah,
polished what we already made, and then we kept in touch with the publisher, and they wanted to meet us, and
and then it was kind of all set from there. Yeah.
The interesting part about it was actually when we wanted to enter the competition. So we talked a lot. Are we going to use ideas we already have, or do we want to just come up with something together, something new? So we ended up with that. So we had a fun brainstorming session. That ended up being for Stjernesport.
Yeah, we tried to find something like story elements from things that we already love, like the adventure part, maybe some family, friendship, those lovey-dovey stuff, wholesome stuff. All about family and belonging and all that, but also colorful characters and just a good vibe.
Yeah.
And also make it a story that everyone wants to follow, not all children, but also adults.
Yeah.
So we have a storyline for the younger audience, but also for the adults. So there's something for everyone to read about.
Yeah.
And maybe adults will read this to their kids and I actually had some kind of familiar experience here.
Yeah. So, layering the story, right? Yeah. So you have the children characters who they go through their things, and it's in a childlike manner, but then you have the grown-up characters as well, who have more grown-up problems that might go, past the children's
mind.
But maybe their parents. And what I also wanted to do with that was when the children read it, and maybe 10 years in the future we're okay, I like this comic book, so maybe I will try to read it again, and they will notice something they didn't notice back then, hopefully.
I worked with animation for a while, and with Elias, the movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And they have those kind of jokes there when you see the draft of it, and you're like, is this suitable for a young audience? And then the young audience doesn't even notice it. But adults are like, but that's having the layered story is a good a way to get readability of the story.
We also have like a bunch of few very obscure references in our comic, because we have a very like unique taste in
I would say it's a lot of internal jokes and stuff like that.
But there's also like things that probably Norwegians know about and some have never heard about. Like maybe a bunch of people will recognize it.
I have two questions, but I'll start with the first one now, and that is the step from having this idea and being mostly comfortable in your art, and then having it entered in a competition for people to explicitly judge. How does that feel?
It was super scary. I felt like I was going through a crisis when we entered the competition, because I usually work traditionally with the Copic markers. So I used to try and get used to the digital format, but it didn't really hit me that much, or I weren't very comfortable with drawing on a tablet, even though I had like very good equipment. But I tried at least. But I remember when we entered the competition in the end, I was like, oh God, this it doesn't look that great as I was thinking in my mind. But when we started to work on the comic again, then I got more comfortable in the digital format, and I feel like I kind of found my own style, or the style that I wanted to work with. And because of that, I also got used to certain things, or found new ways to make art kind of go faster.
I think it's always scary when you're initially trying something. You're like, when you're making art, you're taking something from yourself and just putting something pure on paper, if it's drawing or writing. But and you're showing it to some professional people, and you're like, okay, I have to make it perfect. Maybe you think that, but when like you're entering a competition, it's not like it has to be perfect. You just have to show what you're capable of, right? And everything else is a longer process, so you can polish it and maybe you get other ideas. So when I was writing the first book, I had a draft pretty early on, but I was polishing it until we did the finishing touches on the book. So when we had all the pages fully colored, everything, and it was about to be sent to the publisher, I was going over every line in the comic book just to see, okay, does it make sense? Does it make sense for what is going to happen in the next book and the next after that? Because when this first book is published, I can't rewrite it. Then it's on paper. Then it's done. It's canon, right? But the good thing about it was like, you're working on this project for maybe a year or two, so you have the time to polish it. But at the same time, you have to be careful so you don't polish it too much, right? Yeah. Or you will never get done at all. Yeah. So it comes a point where you're like, okay, this is good. This is good enough. Yeah. So get it out there. If you notice something later on, okay, how can I fix it in the next book, right? Yeah. How can I, further down the line. It's always a possibility.
You know what to say, that perfect is the enemy of done.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I talked to a few comic book artists. I have spoken to Victor and Haley Peach. Yeah. And the thing that always emerges from that is that the stories they tell are personal, and it's always the book 2 and book 3, you have a deadline, but book 1 that does not follow the same deadline. It's always like you started it way before, because now I'm just making up stuff in my mind, but I'm thinking like when you went to Egmont, you already had worked on the story, maybe subconsciously for years before that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a telling about you as artist, right? You're sharing your experience and your views.
Yeah.
So how did this story start with book one?
In many ways, it started with the competition when we sat down and just, as we said, had a brainstorm. But, during the initial brainstorming, you have all these characters showing up and you have a plot line and everything. And maybe the most important thing for me is knowing where the complete story ends, so I know where I'm going, right? But people are different, so people write in different ways. Some people like to just write and see where it goes. But for me, I need kind of a roadmap, right? So after we had the characters and we had the story elements, it was just taking the time, getting ideas for the story. So many stories for me showed up when I was just sitting on the bus, listening to music, just imagining different scenes with different characters. And I'm seeing, okay, that this could fit in this place in the storyline or whatever. But I think the most biggest challenge for me is when you're like, okay, the first book is fine, it was okay to write, it was not as challenging, but when you're starting on the second one, you have a different problem because, okay, you have to continue the story from the first and you know kind of where you're going, but you have to, put on the building blocks and get there somehow. And where is the second book ending and how are we going to get there and how are we going to fit all the characters and everyone's getting a story, It's a lot, but it's fun work. It is. And with the deadlines as well, you have hopefully you have an idea where you're going. So it's easier for you, but of course, if you're stuck, you have to figure out a way to get out of it.
Yeah, you mentioned deadlines there, and that's a question I usually go into. It's usually, as for you have a deadline, but sometimes you get the art block, you get the writer's block. What do you do then? Because you have to deliver, right? You have a contract with a publisher that says this is the date.
Yeah. Usually when I get an art block, I'm kind of fortunate because I work as a tattoo artist. So in a way I kind of I get art blocks sometimes, but I am in the position where I can't have an art block in a way, especially when I'm making customized tattoo designs. So sometimes I think when I get art blocks during the comic sessions, I usually try to draw. I just use time to draw the characters again, maybe in making merch out of it, for example, just doing something that's related to the comic and just trying to draw something just to make myself making sure that I'm doing something useful with my time.
Yeah, now with the writer's block, it's like people say you should just write, right? Just write. And in a way, it's true. It can be really hard to just write because you get so judgmental about what you're writing, right? Oh, this is not good enough. This is not good enough. But what I find freeing in a way is you just write, approximately where you're going with the story, just write it out. Ignore the voice in your head saying it's not good enough, because this is just the first draft. It's not going to be the finished product. So, yeah, it's painful, but just write it through. and when you're done with that, leave it be for a couple of days. Go back and read it again. And then it's more obvious for you where you have to fix stuff or cut down or, and a different thing is sometimes I don't write for weeks. I don't write a single word for weeks, but I let the story churn in my head and maybe just think about something else for a couple of days, get back to it. I don't know, try to brainstorm around it. Yeah. And suddenly you get this idea, maybe you're taking the story a different direction than you initially thought. And that can be a huge breakthrough again. You have to, I think, make yourself right, but if you're completely stuck, just drop everything you're holding and take a break and get back to it. But with the deadlines, when hopefully you're aware of the deadline and it's not tomorrow, so you have some time usually. Don't get too close to the deadline, of course. You have to be aware of it, and some publishers are also very helpful about that. So with our comic book, it's not always like, this is your deadline from day one, right? We start working on the book, and with the publisher we can work together, and the closer we get to the product, the closer we get to setting a final deadline. So when we are we have the draft of the whole book and we're starting lining and coloring, then we can start thinking about when are we going to publish it. Because then we have basically done maybe the hardest work, which is plotting out the story and making the pages and getting a good flow.
Yeah, and it's also something you didn't say with words now, but I feel like you're hurrying early in the project, right? Yeah. You know you have this project, you know you have a deadline, and instead of procrastinating there and then starting work, you'll start work and then maybe procrastinate later if you need to.
Yeah, that's a smart way.
It is, because you usually...
And I would say I don't always do that, but that's probably the smartest way to do it.
Yeah. In software design or software programming, there's this thing that you do estimates, right?
Yeah.
And no matter what estimate you make, the task will fill that estimate, right? And that's the same thing here. You have a deadline, and the task will fill that time to the deadline. But if you hurry there, you can take it a bit slower there. Otherwise, you'll take it slow there, and you have to rush at the end. And getting an art block, then that'll be
that's problematic. So I think also it's a fine line and a balance, because they say if you are a little bit stressed, you are making better work. So your best work is made under a little stress.
Yeah.
You can't be too stressed, because then you're just rushing it, right? But if you're feeling a little pressure, that's actually good for the creative work.
Yeah. For the story, you mentioned that you had the story in rough draft from start to finish.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, because then you know where you're ending up, and just not continuing and trying to make something out of thin air.
Yeah.
So how much do you plan? Is it just the big story beats, or is it more detailed and where people should end up, or is it how do you do it?
What I usually do is
we get visitors. Det er pappa.
Skal vi gå vente han går inn, eller hva?
Vent litt, kan jeg bare...
Ja.
Excuse me.
Ja, jeg er klar da.
Halla. Vi har en sånn liten podcasting gående.
Nå skal man jobbe.
Det ble litt forsinkelser i dag, skjønner du. Men altså, skulle jeg... Ja.
Men det jeg prøvde å ringe deg om, det var om du hadde sånn sprutemaske.
Ja, det har jeg.
Og så en drøpp med Zalo oppi.
Ja, det har vi. Så det er ikke noe problem.
Jeg har en sånn struket med.
Ja.
Så har du litt maskeringsteip på, kanskje? Du får henget den opp sånn...
Jeg har teip. Eller noe for teip. Vi skal sette opp de vinduene, skjønner du. Så har det blitt litt forsinkelser i dag. Men vi må bli ferdig med det her først uansett. Du klarer vel å vente litt, pappa?
Ja, det er ikke så... Ja.
Jeg vil gjerne bli ferdig med det her, siden vi har... Nå er dere her, liksom. Sorry hvis det bare blir sånn.
Nei, det går så bra. Jeg får ordnet det.
Ja.
So we're talking about the planning and the draft you have of the story.
Yeah.
Is it story beats only, or do you have end in mind for characters, or where they end up?
Yeah, so what I do is when I develop the characters, I like to know who they are, what kind of goals they have, and the overarching theme of the story, because I think every character's story arc needs to like fit in with the overall theme and show the theme in different ways. So in our story, it's all about family and or found family even, and I would like to show all the different aspects. So when I know that, I can think, where is this story going to end? Because I do know, like, you have the what is happening in your face, like this is a story, what's going on, and you have what's going on with the characters and where they're going. They have to, at least the main characters, I think, need to have an arc, like they have to go from here to here and learn something.
Yeah, development line.
The development line, yeah. So I like to know where the characters are going to end up, because in that way I know where to or how to show the different aspects of story. And if a character doesn't have a clear end point, or they're doing exactly the same as a different character, maybe I can cut that character, and it creates a more cohesive story. So start point, ending point, and then the character points. So the biggest kind of beats, and I also like to know what is making this big change for these characters. And then I have to like juggle it around to see how the pacing is going to be, where does it fit to make this character have a change and this character have a change. And sometimes maybe 2 or 3 characters will have this change at the same point, the same plot point, right? So something big is going to happen, and characters will maybe react in different ways, which will develop the story further and maybe even take it to the end point.
Yeah.
So that's one of the funnest parts of storytelling, I think, to just play around with characters and see where it goes, but to have this clear goal in mind.
Starting to draw and starting to write, that just doesn't happen by itself. So you probably have some inspiration and background in how you started drawing.
I have been drawing a long time, like since I can remember, but like there's always been like inspirations there. From when I was little, I remember I got super into the Witch comic, and it was probably my biggest inspiration before I started reading manga. And then when manga took over, it was like, okay, it almost got an epiphany in a way that I want to draw something like this because it's very appealing and the art style is good. And the storytelling also is very, it's different, but it's so much fun and unique. So there has been like always this thing going. I also am very into movies and TV series. Not necessarily just anime, but also like live action. And that's kind of where we also got to know each other more, because you and I, we share a very big interest in films. Yeah. So I remember when we met, we were at a common friend's birthday party, and we saw the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And you and I, we were like, this movie is shit. Let's talk about it.
Everyone was like, oh, that was fun. And we were like, was it good?
We were the only one like, wow, what was this?
So we bonded over that.
Yeah.
Trauma bonding.
Yeah. But luckily, we're not that negative usually, but it was mostly that. It was a kind of fun memory, because that's when we started like getting to know each other more.
Yeah. And like with writing, I've always been fond of storytelling, and what inspires me is obviously things that just hits me in a different way, right? And one thing I noticed with a lot of 80s films, and maybe especially like Indiana Jones and Star Wars, and even Pirates of the Caribbean, at least the 3 first films, is like you have this serious plotline elements, but you also combine it with humor and funny things, and it's that perfect balance, you know. I love about films, and I mean you can have this super serious thing that tells something serious about, you know, life or society or whatever, but you have to balance it out with some fun as well, right?
Yeah.
So I think also manga or anime has a really
big impact, especially One Piece.
Yeah, One Piece.
We love One Piece to death.
Yeah.
It's almost obsessionate. It's almost a big obsession there.
Yeah.
But I'm also very fond of animated movies, because when we studied in Trondheim, Sam Einar went into movie school and I were to animation. So I wanted to do, so mostly where my comic thing became more of a reality was when I started animating, because I always got good grades for my storyboarding.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe I should just skip that and just do comics instead.
Yeah. Well, storyboarding is in many ways just comic books.
Yeah, in a way it is.
Just remove the animation from the animation movie and you have the comic book.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an interesting way to get into comic books.
Yeah, exactly. You get the pacing and everything there. Yeah.
But again, it's been like, this is the first comic book I've been working on, like for real. And when we were going to a publisher, I was like, okay, I have to study some theory behind, you know, pacing in the comic books and stuff like that. So just looking at the pages, how they're built up with the frames and stuff, and how you get the reader to want to turn the page, and when you turn the page you get this wow moment or something like that, right? So that's been a really interesting way to study story in a different way for me.
Yeah, how do you do that? Because I'm thinking now you have the layout of all the pages.
Yeah.
How do you follow the story beats? Do you go by that you recognize the page, or do you use coloring, or how do you make sure that you see the pacing when you look at the entire product?
Well, what I usually do per page is I want to always have the last,
Panel?
The last panel to include something that almost like a little cliffhanger, or just a mini cliffhanger, like someone asking a question can be a cliffhanger, you know, because, okay, what is going to happen? What are you going to answer? And you want to turn the page. That's per page. And you have the spreads. Yeah. Then you have to have maybe something more interesting on the last panel of the spread to make them turn the page. But at the same time, I try to not go too, you know, strict into it. I like to feel it when we make the spreads for a chapter, and I go through it, you go through it, and we talk about how does the pacing feel? Do we have to cut some panels? Do we have to add a page or two? Is it too rushed? Is it taking too long? Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, drafts. Really, to make it feel right, and having a good
dialogue, or
but having a good balance of action and quiet moments as well, to make room for the characters.
You work as a tattoo artist as well in the studio. Do you do the book on nights or evenings, weekends, or is it?
Mostly nights and weekends. I'm a night owl when it comes to drawing, so it's like I always draw at night. So that's where I get my inspirational, like in the morning to the afternoon, it's like tattoo work only. And then we move on to comic book work after. But there's also some days where I just work. I try to do some work here if I have free time, because since we have kind of like an office here, and it would be nice to just work on it whenever I got the time. But yeah, there is the balance sometimes. Sometimes I use more time on tattooing, and some other times I use more time on comic books. So yeah, there is kind of like this hard thing for me to do. I can do both, but sometimes I can't like replace the other thing.
Yeah, I think like when you're working with something creative, and it's hard to, make a living out of it. So you have to have some other work at the side. I mean, you like tattooing, so that's fine. But
it's hopefully a very it's not a very strict thing, luckily, or I haven't been noticing any of those. But I can take vacations. I have a lot of, I have more free time or free space to do what I want. I can always I don't want to do it, but sometimes if there's too much work for me during a week, I could just move my clients ahead of time just to make sure that I can do all that I need to do, especially when I do both the comic book and the tattooing. Yeah,
it's important to not get overworked, because it's really easy when you have a daytime job and then you go home and you work. Then you sleep and you work and you work and you work and you,
And as my client said to me, no, not my client, sorry, Helen said to me earlier this day that I'm too optimistic. But I like to do a lot of stuff, so I'm I try to do everything, but sometimes I gotta remember that I'm just human.
Yeah, I feel that. I do the same thing.
You want to do all the stuff.
So I have a couple of projects that need my follow-up, and I'm recording this episode, and I need to edit the next episode with Helen, and then I do a lot, and I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
You gotta be, right?
Yeah, you gotta be.
Yeah, you want to do stuff. You mentioned that you've been partners for 14-ish years. How has the work with the comic affected that? Is it a net positive, or?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean, we have had our fights in a way, but not like anything big.
Yeah, creative disagreements.
Yeah, exactly. There are some things that we disagree on, but then we just had to discuss it, and we're not afraid to do that.
Mostly we agree on stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly. But of course, sometimes. It's, when you're living together and you're working together, if you didn't have one single fight, that would be a red flag.
Yeah, exactly.
But it also helps building a solid relationship. It helps you communicate, because
I think so.
In a relationship you can just move on, right? But you have to solve the conflict, because you have a product to make.
Yeah.
We gotta stay together because of the fans.
Yes, true. No, but I don't know. Usually it works out.
Yeah, it usually
way. I think we throw around ideas if we disagree. Try to find a middle ground if we're not seeing eye to eye at all.
Yeah.
It happens,
But you've released 2 books, right? When's the third coming?
We have a sort of a plan to release, since this year will be a very busy year for us both. So we had a thought that the third book will come out maybe January or March next year in 2027. And then we also want to try to release the fourth the same year, but not right after, a few months. Something like that, just so it won't be too long to wait, since we already missed a year. Since it would be nice to give out a book every year, but we came to the conclusion that maybe we actually should take a little, it's not like a break, but more we need more time.
Give ourselves more time.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, how many books are planned-ish, if I can ask?
7 is the goal, but
maybe 8. It all depends on the story, I think. So again, I have this rough idea how long the story is going to be, and I think I have roughly the main beats of each book. So, but it depends. What I usually say is the story has to be as long as it needs to be. I don't want to rush it, but I don't want to, drag it on. Yeah, no, not at all. So I think 7 or 8 books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the second question I mentioned way earlier in this talk. I want to ask that as well, because you mentioned that you had some references and obscure references.
Oh yeah.
Usually when you have a reference to something, when you tell a joke that's a reference to something, you really want to ask, did you get it? Did you get it?
Yeah.
You have it in a book that is read by many people. Do you ask them if they get the references, or do you just hope?
Sometimes, at least to close friends, they usually get it. But I remember when my cousin, she's probably one of our biggest fans.
Yeah.
She's very cute, but she's like 9 years old, so she.
I don't think she gets those.
But she thinks it's funny anyway. So we're like, okay.
Like different parts of the story is funny, but with the references, I don't care if people see them or not. I make the references for me. and if like one person is like, I got that reference, I'm like, hey, you're my people. Right? So,
my tribe.
I think it's funny with references, but I think if they're too obvious, it can disrupt the story a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So I try not to make them too in your face. Maybe that's why I like the obscure ones a little bit more.
Yeah,
I suppose.
When I made the video with the Nerdforge, I have this. They asked me about a tight deadline, so I cut it to my calendar. That's just written with a bunch of bullshit. That's just filled with references, and in the comments when people get them, I'm like, yes. And then of course when they call me, I used the ringtone from the series 24.
Oh yeah.
That's also a reference that I'm I hope people get this.
Yes, please.
That's always fun when people comment that and you're you know that you did something fun.
Yeah, and I think, it creates kind of a bonding as well. Yeah. Because, we like the same things, so we got something to talk about.
Yeah,
and it's nice.
And you also give the reader, in your case, the kind of inside info, inside knowledge that I got this. The writer wrote this and I got this. Yeah, so you get that extra little kick out of it.
I will say it's not only obscure references. There are some more...
I'm still waiting for someone who recognizes Trond and Trond.
We'll see.
Maybe they get it, I don't know. Hopefully.
I usually round off these talks with a moonshot. Moonshot being like a lofty goal, something you want to achieve or something that keeps you going to achieve more. Yeah. So do you have a moonshot? 7, 8 books?
I mean, like dream complex. Okay.
And it can be for both of you together and individually as well. So.
I mean, I want to do many things. Usually, I want to be like a successful artist / animator. That's been my main life goal in a way. But also like live a happy family life. That's also been a thing that I want to do. With Sam Einar, of course.
I hope so.
No, and someone else. No. So, no.
No, but for me, it's like if I'm gonna... I love the goal. It's like I would love to make something Star Wars, even if it's a comic book or a movie. I can make a movie, like our comic book is inspired by Star Wars in many ways.
Yeah.
And I love Star Wars, so I would love to get there. But if we're talking more a realistic goal, it would be like just being able to live off making stories in comic books, films, books, anything. Yeah, really. I just love telling stories, and I love seeing how people react to my stories and hear what they think about it. So I hope to be able to do that one day.
Yeah, I feel like well on your way with at least 2 books published, plans of 7 or 8. I'm very glad it's not 6 or 7.
Yeah, true.
And then
you brought that up.
I'm sorry. I take full responsibility. But I feel like you have the basis for your moonshot already. With the book, you can draw, you can write stories, and you have the possibility for an animated something there, series or movies. That would be really cool to have a proper Norwegian animated.
Oh yeah,
so cool. I think a goal we both have is like getting the comic book turned into an anime
by special studio,
which is
Trigger.
Trigger.
I was about to hear Ghibli here, but
no, that's too
basic.
Too mainstream. Oh, but an anime by Trigger, that would be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And if it was Hiroki Imaichi, who's one of our favorite directors, then I would die.
And also,
I'll die happy.
with Moron Police playing the opening song, of course.
Yeah, also kind of like an obscure thing.
A little obscure, but it's a Norwegian band we like, and it's a big inspiration because they have this progressive rock metal thing, but the vibe is so amazing, and it fits perfectly with the comic book, we think. So
we've been like drawing and then listening to their albums like on repeat.
So
but I think that should be achievable in some ways, at least with the keeping the comic book alive, and having somebody animated would be top notch, I feel.
Or I will do it myself. Maybe make a pilot or something just to make it like go out globally.
The Thanos way.
I'll
do it myself.
I'll do it myself.
Oh man.
But thank you so much for having this chat with me. It was really fun talking to you.
Thank you for
having
us.
And, I'll look forward to the next book.
Hope so. We're looking forward to releasing it because I think it will be lots of fun.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.